My small Showman's engine needs some repairs, and this is part 5. Removing the paint and cleaning the check valves using a rotary wire brush and remachining the valve seats to obtain a perfect seal, followed by fitting new stainless steel balls, then rubbing down the paint on the flywheel and applying another coat. Even though these check valves and the union pipe had been in some cellulose thinners for a couple of days, it didn't fully remove the paint. And why is that? Well, for 2 reasons. One is they were very well primed using etching primer, but the main reason being that this is not a display model and it's done quite a lot of running. I used to run it frequently before I put the canopy on it. Running an engine using steam makes it get very hot, and the paint is baked onto the fittings. Before I refit the canopy this time round, I think I will steam it. It's been sat on my sideboard for quite a number of years. Before I can steam the engine though, I do need to sort out these check valves. First of all, I'm cleaning off the remainder of the paint using a rotary wire brush fitted into one of my Proxxon motor tools. I've found that with these rotary wire brushes it's better to keep the speed down. If you run them fast, then the bristles fly off in all directions. Maybe it slows down the job slightly, but I prefer this to being covered in stainless steel wire bristles. Here I'm cleaning up the flats of the union nuts on a piece of wet-to-dry sandpaper. In no time at all, the wire brush is not looking too good. As you can see, from one section there are quite a few bristles missing. And when the brush is like this, it's actually off balance and starts to shed even more bristles. Although this is fairly obvious, I would like to say that you must always wear eye protection when using tools like this. Once I'd spirited away quite a lot of the paint, it was time to unscrew the top cap and have a look inside. There was quite a lot of limescale and the valve seat didn't look too good. I'm going to clean up the valve seat using one of these. It's an end mill. This fits in the hole without disturbing the threads, but the problem is, if you rotate it by hand, you don't get a good finish. All you're doing is just scratching the seat, as you can see clearly in this clip. You can also see that around the edge of the hole it's quite uneven. This is due to limescale and stainless steel and brass reacting with each other. Here's a better close-up, and as you can see, all that the end mill's done is just scratch the surface. I could use one of these. It's called a D-bit, and it's called a D-bit because when you look at it from this angle, it looks like a letter D. And generally you would use one of these to drill a flat-bottomed hole. I'm going to use a milling cutter in the lathe, and here I have the part fitted into the chuck. I got the part to run quite true in the chuck by using a twist drill down the centre hole, although it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter, because the end mill will machine a perfect seat inside the unit, and here it is. I hardly removed any metal at all, just enough to clean the seat and make it like new. This next bit is important. I'm using a piece of brass rod and the original stainless steel ball inside the check valve, and here I'm seating the ball by hitting the brass rod a couple of times, and I'm showing the operation in slow motion. The stainless steel ball that I've just hammered onto the seat I'm not going to use. The stainless steel ball is now a perfect fit inside the valve, but always use a brand new steel ball in a valve like this when you've done the job. In this clip I'm applying some Bond lock, which is like Loctite 542, to the top cap. You will notice it has an extension on the end of it. This is used to limit the amount of ball lift. To refit the cap I'm using 2 different size Barco spanners. And that is one valve completed. Although the outside of it does still need a bit more wire brushing, just to tidy it up and get rid of any traces of paint. The shaft of these wire brushes is just a tiny bit too small for the collet that I use in the drill. It's something that I have to live with because I cannot tighten the collet anymore. Time now for a compressed air test. I've connected a compressed air line to the valve, and to make sure the ball seats under pressure and doesn't leak, I'm lifting it using an Allen key. In the full size, these things are known as clack valves because of the noise they make. At quarter speed, in this size, you can just about hear a bit of a thud. The noise is caused by the ball slamming back onto the face. That's perfect, no leaks at all, and the ball snaps shut every time. Some viewers may be wondering why I'm going to so much trouble with these check valves. Why don't I just buy a new pair? The answer is in this close-up. The body of the valve is made from brass, but the part that screws into the boiler bush is made from phosphor bronze, as is the cap. Had I have made this valve, I think I would have made the entire thing using phosphor bronze. But that's the way it is, so I'm going to live with it. Back now to the wire brush to remove the paint from the other check valve. This clip is running at 4 times normal speed, just to get through it. It was tedious wire brushing all these parts, but now they sort of look good, and I'm pleased that I did it. I don't think I'm going to paint these as they were, because I prefer them to be like they are. I didn't show the machining of the seat on the other check valve and the fitting of a new ball, but take it from me, both of these have now got new insides. And now both of them do not leak. On the day I painted the flywheel, it was fairly windy, and unfortunately in the outer part of the workshop the paint picked up some particles. I'm rubbing down the paint using a piece of Scotch-Brite, which is not ideal. I should really use wet-to-dry sandpaper. But it's not a problem. If after the second coat it doesn't look any better than this, I'll just put it back in the tub of cellulose thinners, remove this paint and start again. I'm going to give it another chance first. I took the flywheel into the outer part of the workshop and I painted the inside first, and then I turned it over, and here I've given the other side a nice even coat of Phoenix Precision Paints LMS Crimson Lake Gloss. Now I need to take the tin of paint down to my other workshop where the traction engine is, and also some pieces of Scotch-Brite, cut to finger-like sizes to key the paintwork that is damaged before I repaint it with a brush. That concludes this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.